Hello, friends. Seattle Mike MMA with friends. No glum faces. We still have an event. As we have it right now, I'm going to do predictions for this event. I put quite a bit of research into this. I pondered doing a few different videos today on previews for Dominic Cruz versus Henry Cejudo, and then I really did a lot of research for Ferguson versus Gaethje, but I hadn't gotten them up yet, and then I seen the news about Jacare, and I thought, man, I'm going to go ahead and go live. What's up, Asian? So let's go to the chat and give a shout out to everybody in here. Thank you guys for joining me this late at night. Hello, what's up, Philly D? Cooking some midnight burgers, ready to sit down and chill. You know, I should have a beer in my hand. Why don't I have... Young David, get me a beer. No. Yeah, I just heard that. He's COVID positive. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't. Oh, we're not supposed to say that word. They'll kick me off. He tested positive for the Khabib-Ferguson virus. God, almost 9 a.m. here in Dubai. Damn, you are dedicated, my friend. You are super dedicated. Dude. Oh, sorry about the feedback there. Robert Kerrigan will be coming in the stream, hopefully. I gave him a heads up. And Bill Hughes. Damn, what's up, Robert Christian? Thank you, dude. Hopefully you don't infect others. I hope not either. I've been in contact. Well, I've been trying to contact Sam Alvey. I'm sure the last thing probably on his mind right now is to talk to reporters or YouTubers, nonetheless. But I put a bug in his ear. I'm trying to get some kind of idea from him about what the scene is out there at UFC 249. I do know he went back to his room. He's avoiding everybody. He's been wearing a mask the entire time he was there. One fighter missed weight by over 5 pounds. We'll get into that in a minute. Of course, you guys have already talked about Souza. He is out. So it looks like Souza and Hall are out of that fight. Hall did test negative. Actually, 23 of 24 fighters tested negative for the Khabib-Ferguson virus. So thank God for that. That's the good news. 23 out of 24. That's pretty awesome. All clear. Jacare, he lives in Florida anyways. He is not at the hotel now as we speak. That has been confirmed. He is not at the Fighters Hotel in Jacksonville. He has checked out. He does live close. He does live in Florida. He lives close to Jacksonville. I can't think of the city right offhand. But all I can do is confirm is he is not at the Fighter Hotel currently. I imagine obviously he would be going into some kind of 14-day quarantine, and we just hope, like people said, that nobody else was affected by that. He was wearing a mask. From everything I could see, fighters have been wearing masks the entire time. Some of the officials are still being tested as they're going in there, so we still don't know if all the officials... the judges, I've heard, have tested. At least the judges for the main card. I don't know if it's going to be the same judges for the prelims or the early prelims. I'm just hearing some officials still needing to go through testing. So that could be referees, judges for the prelims and the early prelims, but referees, judges for the main card have been tested, have gotten through. Main card, all coaches have gotten through, tested negative. They are all good. So that's all good news. Yeah, Jacare made weight. How about that? How about that? Prayers out to Jacare and his family, and thoughts and prayers, and just that he's okay and everybody else on this card. I just hope that, obviously we all are hoping for the best to happen throughout this, for fighters to stay healthy and to just have a normal event. Guys, can't we just have something normal, right? We deserve this. We deserve this. What's up, Truth Seeker? Robert Kerrigan in the house. What is up, dude? No one else has tested. Everyone else has tested negative outside of Jacare. Tell the tape. Thank you. Chaos behind the scenes at UFC, 3 locations. Yeah, supposed to be 3 UFCs within 9 days. That's most likely not going to happen. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose everything I know about the other 2 UFCs coming out yet, because I'm not sure how much is public. UFC 249, as of right now, is still on. My eyes are glued to ESPN right now, as I'm sure a lot of yours are probably on the other side. And if anything happens here tonight, we're going to find it out together. It is 9:41 p.m. Here in Seattle. Good here. It's been a crazy few months. It is. Hey, I always look forward to streaming with you guys, though, and doing these kinds of things. I'm so happy that we're going to be able to do this. There it is. Officially, there is no opponent for Uriah Hall. I didn't think they would be. Florida athletic officials are still saying, as of right now, other fights can go on as planned. So, of course, the last Bellator event, everybody tested positive. Tested positive. Knock on wood. Everybody made weight. And then the morning of the event, they decided to cancel it. Knock on wood. And, I hope that does not happen. But I will tell you guys, I have not purchased my pay-per-view yet, so I hope there's no backup as this thing gets close. But I didn't want to have to mess with the refunds and things should something else happen. But good vibes. Ferguson and Gaethje. Jeez, if this goes past round 2. Dude, it's going to be so crazy. It's going to be such a crazy fight. It's going to be insane. I love it. Ferguson and Gaethje. What's going on, Kami the Genius in the house? Good to see you, my friend. Pulse Reloaded has a channel of his own and some picks out there, I know. Irregardless, Jacare made a weight. That is crazy, for sure, right? Take a shot, Mike, for luck. I should have young David bring me up. I don't have any hard alcohol. I don't have any alcohol up here right now, actually. Hey, Becca. Hey, are you in a position to grab me 2 beers out of the fridge? Thank you. So my daughter, young Becca's going to bring me a couple beers here. Yes, he did wear masks and gloves. I seen that. Do you think Luke Thomas? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, he might have, Nelda Security. He's been kind of raining on this parade, hasn't he? Hope all fighters will be ordered to quarantine after. What's up, Byman Report? I kind of think they have to be because they've been exposed. I think everybody in there should be. Anybody who was in the vicinity, anybody who was in the building, because Jacare was in there, yeah, they have to do that. That's a good point. 14 days. I would assume that they have to quarantine. God, they're going to quarantine together. That could make for some interesting TV at least. I don't know. I don't know if they would quarantine together or alone. I have no idea how that's going to go down. But this, I don't want to give away too much, but this is going to have implications for the next 2 UFCs coming up. Just speculation. People that were exposed to this, if they're in 14-day quarantine, it's pretty obvious that they're not going to be at the events coming up. One scheduled for those of you that haven't seen this Wednesday, May 13th. And then the next one, May 16th, next Saturday, both on ESPN. How do you think that Tyson will do this charity fight stuff? Hey, oh, do you think Tyson will do the charity? I think definitely. I think he'll definitely do the charity fight stuff. I think he will do an exhibition. I kind of hope he doesn't do the bare knuckle thing, especially against Evander Holyfield. As much as I would have liked to seen that fight ran back 20 years ago, Evander Holyfield's 57 years old, and that guy's crazy as hell. He would do it in a heartbeat, and that's what bothers me, is that he would do it. I think they already knew he had it as he weighed in. I don't know. I doubt that the tests were back yet, but it's hard to say, man. You would think if he tested positive, I don't think so, because they wouldn't risk this event like that and all their fighters. I think. Oh, thank you. I was gonna. I need the bottle opener for those ones though, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you. I thought you grabbed the Rolling Rock out of the other fridge, but that's fine. She brought me the Corona. It's the Corona Extra though, so maybe this is good. Maybe it's like a Corona with a vaccine. I don't know, but UFC promo starts with everything is canceled but us. So much on the line for them going first. May the fights go on. Absolutely, he'll be all right. This sheet won't beat him. This will be trial and error. Yes, exactly, Iman. Tell the tape. Did Jockey wear... Yes, he was wearing a mask at weigh-in. And gloves, by the way. He was wearing what looked to me, and I haven't verified this, but it looked like an N95 medical mask. I know those because we had some in the house. Thank you. We had some in the house from my mother-in-law's caretaker that was coming in the house while she was living here. Cheers, brothers and sisters. As if any women watch my fat ass on this show. But if they're out there, cheers as well. Other two fight cards could now be in limbo. Oh, absolutely. Uriah Hall, he is guaranteed his show money. So Uriah Hall is getting his show money. What they're going to do with his win money, they have not mentioned that yet. Being that they just said he would get show money, I'm guessing maybe that's all he's going to get. But honestly, I think he should get... Let me know what you guys think, but I think he should get a little bit more than show money. Maybe show money and like a small percentage of win bonus. Maybe you look at how likely he was to win the fight and you give him a small percentage of that. Or is it enough just that he's getting paid and not to fight? So some NBA players have been okay. Some NBA teams, have been okay to test players. They're looking to hopefully do something. I don't know what the NBA is going to do. It seems like that season's kind of canceled. Baseball. Don't worry. I'm going to do mostly UFC here. I'm just touching bases. There we go. UFC given clearance to run card, despite positive Tony Khabib test. So as of 9:48 p.m. Pacific. We are still on, and there is the stare down. For those of you that haven't seen it, they shook hands. There is a stare down, and there is Dana White and Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, and Dana White. None of them were wearing gloves. None of them were wearing masks. They did shake hands. Does that give speculation to maybe Jacare did know something because he was on the scale with a mask and gloves? Tony Ferguson has moved all the way up to a minus 180 as a favorite here. I thought it had been much closer, I believe. Gaethje was plus 125 the last time I've seen. He's collecting unemployment, says Comid. What's up? I see Billy Hughes is in his house. Show yourself, Billy. No. Thank you. Thank you for being on a Billy. Are they going to wear masks while fighting in the cage, right? Should make you line. What's up, Multi-Speedo? Jason Richardson. Good to see you, my friend. Probably knew Jacques had it, but had to weigh in due to unknown. Yeah, now I've heard some things, God, and I got to be really careful even talking about this, but so let's just not. Over-under for rounds on Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz is 4.5 rounds. Henry Cejudo is just the minus 250 favorite at the point. Cruz a plus 200 underdog. Just the second time he's been an underdog in his career. Of course, the 3 spot's going to be Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Francis Ngannou. Banger of a fight. So who have you picked on the card? I'm going to go through this one here too. One for me too, please. Send link. I don't know what the link's for. Cheers. Yes, you can. Too. Mike about to get lit. I can't stream or send stream links. You could send a factual ink. Yep. Everyone gets quarantined before and after. Good to know. So Francis Ngannou coming in. Okay, excuse me. It's a plus 155 for Ngannou to win this in round 1. I'll take Luke over Brendan Schaub anytime. I like it. Comedic. Cerrone's grandma can't sit ringside because she's vulnerable, because she's old, Yeah, let's not have her at ringside. That wouldn't be a good thing. How are the zombies? Where are you at? It's a crazy world out here, man. I'll tell you, Eastern Washington is much different, or Western Washington, and Eastern Washington are much different right now. I did go down and visit family. Curse me out if you want, but I went down on my vacation last week, and I visited family after multiple requests by them. Not a lot of cases down there, and nobody was... I mean, there were some people, wearing face condoms and some of the rest of it, but they were not nearly as concerned, seemingly, as on the west side of the state. Oh, why 2 more fights? Robert Xerxes. So... Jeremy Stevens is over 5.5 pounds. He weighed in at 150.5 pounds. From what I know so far, somebody correct me if you've seen it, but I don't believe Calvin Kattar has officially agreed to fight him. Stevens is gonna have to give up a lot of his purse, if he's going to end up fighting him, because that is no small miss at featherweight. 150.5. That is a big miss. Holyfield Tyson 3 for what? Evander won twice already, right? Too old, man. They're too old. Drink Dos Equis, Simon Report. I did have some Dos Equis before, and they are supporting Stipe and the first responders, so that's awesome. But my wife, I am not an extra guy recently. Can I say the name of beer? I don't even know if I'm supposed to, but so I told my wife on one stream, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself for some of you guys, but I told my wife on one of the streams, to get me some of this beer kind of as a joke, and I assumed she would bring me back like a 6-pack or 40 or something. Well, she likes to go to Costco a lot, so she brought me back a 36-pack of these things. So I still have some in the fridge from over a month ago. Cheers, folks. From what I understand, isn't what you think, but hopefully things get... that's what I hope so. That's what I hope. I really can't speculate too much on it, but I mean, God, yeah, I've heard a million things, and at this point, I just don't even know what to believe. To the good old days. Also taking a look at their face-off, Souza stood the furthest apart from the rest. The face-off stood at a distance from Dana, too. Interesting. Looked as though UFC provided N95 over-the-ear style for anyone who wanted it. I imagine they would. Because I think all will win. I think you're right. So Pettis versus Cerrone still on. Yes. Oh, Tony. Oh, for my picks. I will go through my picks here in just a minute here. Her curling will continue as normal. Yeah, I don't think they have to get within 6 feet of each other. Drink Lysol and you'll be all right. Hey, don't say that. You're going to get me in trouble. No. Extra face-off distance. Masks and gloves. Yeah, Jacare Wan was a formality at that point. What fight is first? First fight of the night is Sam Alvey versus Ryan Spann, and it's a tough one, guys. Sam takes things personally. And he is one of the biggest underdogs on this card. And all I'm going to say is I think Sam, I think he's a good underdog. I think he's a live underdog at plus 450. Putting some bets down for the fights. If you want me to out some for you, Mike, let me know. I will, Billy. But first, all right. We have got to recognize a superstar in the house, PBR Racing. One of the first donations on here in quite some time because I have not been live. You guys are always on it, but PBR Street Gang with the super chat. And another shout out to PBR Street Gang. If you guys go, I do have a Patreon now. PBR Street Gang was the first person to join the Patreon, and he just upped his donation by 4 times. If he wants to tell you, I won't embarrass him. As to a dollar amount or anything, unless he wants to, unless he's okay with that. But thank you very much, sir. To PBR Street Gang and the super chatters and all you the fight fans of MMA with Friends. Thank you very much, guys. Been good. Up late. It's my night off. I was off last night, so generally it's kind of late for me. But no, I've been up late. I didn't take a nap today, but I didn't wake up till 10 a.m. in the morning either. Heard Wii Sports will continue as usual. I did hear that. I actually got my kids a Wii U. Because I tried to hook my Wii up to my old TV. Maybe some of you guys have had this issue. My new TV does not have an AV cord spot. So I went online, and there are converters, but people had told me the best way to play your Wii on HD is actually just to play the games on a Wii U. So I went on OfferUp and got my kids a Wii U that had some games and stuff packaged into it, even though young David already has a Switch. It doesn't play Wii games, so now they're more spoiled than ever. Sports betting is officially legal in Colorado as of May 1st. Are you kidding me? This is great news. That is great news, sir. I love it. I wish they would do that here in Washington, and I think they will. After this gets going, because they're going to have it on the native reservations here, and kaboom, guys, here the casinos are all ran on Native American reservations. So I respect whatever you think about it, whether you want to go out, whether you think people shouldn't go out. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm going to say they've decided to open up as casinos. So PBR's Mike's lady. Oh, that's hilarious. Comedic. Cheers, fella. Time for 249 picks. All right. 249 picks. Let's bring them up. 31 of you watching here. On the community tab, I know some of you guys have already voted, but up right now is the Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje fight, along with Nagano Rosenstruck. My buddy Sam Alvey versus Ryan Spann. And I'm going to go to the DraftKings Sportsbook and Casino. Shout out to DraftKings. They do a great job over there. And they offered me a sponsorship. I cannot take it because I can't really do much with it here. But shout out for the offer. Ryan Spann, a minus 420 favorite. Sam Alvey a plus 325 at the time. All I'm going to say on that one, guys, is Sam Alvey is not a 3-1. He is a live dog on that one. For sure. And let's get into the bottom of the card. This is such a good card. There's no bottom. There is a bottom and top, yes. But let's start at the early prelims. Bryce Mitchell, Charles Rosa. Gonna be a hell of a fight, guys. I didn't look into that one a whole lot. But I think Bryce Mitchell is just a little faster, a little sharper. I think he gets it done. Uriah Hall tweeted out, "Brother, I know it sucks. I'm sorry you have to go through this. I'm beyond devastated for the missed opportunity. I wish you nothing but recovery for you and your family." That is Uriah Hall on Twitter as of 48 minutes ago. So into the prelim card, Carla Esparza versus Michelle Watterson. I think Esparza is going to body Watterson up. I think she's got a size advantage. I think Michelle Watterson is just... I think these are very closely matched women as far as skill. I think the weight advantage for Esparza, that being her natural weight class, being that the UFC just doesn't have a 105 for Watterson, I'm going to say Carla Esparza is able to outpower Watterson. I think she out-wrestles her and gets the unanimous decision. Alexei Olenek versus Fabricio Verdum. Fabricio Verdum coming back in after, a year and a half, almost 2 years of suspension. Esparza, by unanimous decision, says I'm in. Yep, I agree. It is not canceled yet. Just one fight, man. Just one fight. And like I said, James Stevens versus Calvin Kattar. In doubt. Carla Esparza versus Michelle Watterson could also be in doubt. I can't really go into all the details on that one yet, but I will just say that. Oh, do you need that? Thank you. You want to bring me up the 2 Rolling Rock then? So I can polish those out after this? Out of the bottom fridge? Okay. Yeah, I see Jacare on the scale right now. Gloves, the mask. Hall has a mask but no gloves on. They were doing some kind of face-off, but they were way far away from everyone. So that was kind of weird that they even had them do that. But Alexei Olenek versus Fabricio Verdum. Even with all the time off, I think Fabricio, he's still just younger. He's faster. His striking's better. I don't see him getting submitted. I think Fabricio finishes Alexei Olenek. I think he does it in the second round. I'm going to say referee stoppage, either knockout or TKO. Then we're going to get into Anthony Pettis versus Donald Cerrone. That one is very, very interesting. So I'm going to go to the comments and see what you guys think before I get into that one. Then we're going to get into the main card. Awesome commentator when you've sunk a few. Well, thank you, Firefighter Gypsy. I'd like to think I'm not too bad before a few too, but maybe I get better. Alvey left hook KO first round. My pick. I like it, Jason. PBR cheers. Oh, yes. Happy birthday, PBR. Coming up tomorrow, correct? Got Verdum. Get them to bring up the whiskey. Oh, beer before liquor, never been sicker. Have you not heard that, my friend? You trying to kill me? I'm just kidding. But we're just going to stick with the beer for tonight. Maybe shots tomorrow. Got Pettis, Cowboys, Chins gone. Pettis by KO. PBR says Donald Cerrone should retire with a loss. Ouch, that would suck. He has had enough of losing, however. Pettis is the fave, I guess. Thank you, young David. Oh, young David's brought me up an assortment of beverages.
I brought him his White Claw.
Hey, I bought those for the wife.
Sure.
This is the manly beer, but I may have one, just because. Oh, and I see you brought me up the girliest flavor here too. Ruby grapefruit. What are you trying to tell me, son? Thank you, young David. And it's still saying UFC has conferred with Florida athletic officials, and it will go on. Card is scheduled to be UFC's first event since March 14th. So almost 2 months since we've had a UFC event. Longer for other ones. I'll tell young David. Thank you, PBR. Now I'm going to stick with Carla. I don't have any Budweiser here, but I do like Budweiser too. Luke Rockhold says, hold my beer on the most forgetful champ. Oh, I like it. I'm going to... Pettis and Cerrone is so tough. I don't like where Cerrone's head's been lately. Pettis has also had some issues as well. But Cowboy said, it's time for me to do Cowboy things. I'm going to go with the underdog in this one, and I'm going to go against maybe my best first thoughts. I'm going to go with the Cowboy on this, and Donald Cerrone. This breaking, Dana White says we administered 1,200 tests this week on 300 people. It's not unexpected one person would test positive. What's good about this is now we know Jacare tested positive. He's doing what he needs to do, and we're in a position to help him if he needs it. Hey, no matter how you feel about it, shout out to the UFC for doing so much work to get this on, having so much testing, so many safety precautions, in check. Will it be enough? God, we hope so. Like I said, knock on wood. And we just hope Jacare brushes this off. Mo Scream in the house. What is up, Mo? Mo's been pumping out some content lately. Late night stream, huh? Great stuff, bro. Yeah, when I didn't make as many breakdowns like you have been recently, but when I seen the thing on Jacare, and I had not got my picks out yet, I thought, why don't we do a live stream, man? So good to see you. Dana caught it from Jacques, says there regard. I hope not. Cowboy is the pick, and he is the dog. Get that dog money. It's a tough one, man. Yeah, no, I'm not putting the money on that one, but I just have a feeling Cowboy's he's going to bounce back, and I hope he gets a win. And I hope he retires on a win. Pulls 55 gallons. Oh, jeez. Dana White deserves all the praise if and when he pulls this off. What's up, Neil, the security? I really hope he does. I hope he pulls it off. I'm thinking positive, guys. I think it happens. I think this whole thing is going to happen. You should come on one of my round tables and break down some fights sometime. Absolutely, man. Thank you. I seen you through that invitation out there earlier on one of my videos. And, it's probably due that we sit around and talk some fights. Probably overdue. Sony pours Budweiser in his cornflakes. I agree with Mike about Donald. Deserve praise when I pull it off, says comedic. We give you praise, sir. All right, and we'll go into the main card. Feel free to give me your guys' thoughts and still vote in the polls, like I said, in the community tabs. If you go to the channel and hit the community tabs, there are several polls up right now. Looking forward to recording a post-fight show tomorrow night. Yes, the Iman Report debuts tomorrow. Rob, shoot me an email over there at fightswithfriends@gmail.com if you got any questions or anything about tomorrow. But yeah, look forward to the Iman Report. He's been doing it on the Fights with Friends Facebook page. If you guys go over there, but he's going to officially launch the YouTube channel tomorrow as well. Cejudo will ragdoll Cruz. Ragdoll could happen. I'll be live tomorrow. I'm going to drop in, watch the fights. You need to try out StreamYard. You can interact. Nico versus Luke or Jeremy versus Qatar. Which one takes fight of the night? Man, yeah, that's going to be one of them. I hope Jeremy Stevens versus Qatar pops off. I really do. All right, and let's get into the main card, though. So, safety and hygiene protocols. Here it is. Sorry, for the NBA, max of 4 players allowed at one time. Each player will have own basketball. Coaches must be 12 feet apart, wear masks and gloves. No access to locker rooms. Players must drive dressed for workouts. So here we go. We have an update on the NBA the night before the UFC. So they must be deciding they want to do something too. Adam Silver, this is breaking news, tells NBA it's safer to restart in 1 or 2 locations. NBA has not played any regular season games since March 11th. So there is something going on with the NBA. We will figure it out. And as I know more, I will let you guys know. But let's get into some more cards. I think Jeremy's knockout of Do-Ho Choi and Emmett are super underrated. Dude is brutal. It's Tony time. All right, and let's get into the rest of the card. I said Donald Cerrone. We're going to go into the main card, friends. Greg Hardy versus Yorgan De Castro. Yorgan De Castro, I feel he's pretty underrated. He's got some heavy leg kicks. Greg Hardy looked sensational in a loss, though. Probably the best that he has. Amazing for the amount of experience that he has. Going into that fight, NFL was getting some procedures ready to go. Beautiful. Silver preparing players for possibility of no fans next season without the V word. To Castro by unanimous decision, says Iman Report. It might be better than that. I think he might finish him. I don't know. He got all the way with Volkov, though. Yeah, I'm going to say Yorgan by unanimous decision as well, just based on how hard he did against Volkov, but he might run out of steam, too. Jeremy Stevens versus Calvin Kattar. This is a crazy fight, and I don't know if this one's going to go on, because like I said, unlike Jeremy Stevens, I don't remember him having an issue with weight in the past. Obviously, these are the weirdest circumstances, not only we've seen fights under, but weirdest circumstances any of us have ever lived through. But yeah, I'm going to say Castro by unanimous decision. Pulse Reloaded says Hardy by vicious KO. Definitely could catch him. Castro's undefeated at 6-0, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Going on in the card here. Like I said, 4-spot Jeremy Stevens versus Calvin Kattar. Should that go on, I'm going to say Jeremy Stevens. I think he needs a win, and I think he gets it here. I think Calvin Kattar is going to be game. This is a possible fight of the night for sure. But I'm going to say Jeremy Stevens, he needs a win, and I think he gets a unanimous decision or even a late knockout. I'm going to say Jeremy Stevens, final decision, 3rd round knockout. 3-spot, Jairzinho Rosenstruck versus Francis Ngannou. Only portable saunas. Don't have any saunas to cut weight. Shop says multi-time champion. I was abstained from this one due to missed weight. Oh, yeah, I hear you there. That is a weird one. We'll see what happens. Steven missed weight. I don't remember him Does anybody remember him missing weight? Now that I say that, I maybe remember one other time. I'm going to say Stevens by knockout, though. Francis Ngannou, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I'm going to say Ngannou by knockout in the first round. Rozenstruik, he keeps his hands very low. He's very hittable, as you've seen him get hit a lot by Alistair Overeem. I know Overeem's a very technical striker. I thought Overeem should have won that fight. If they would have let that fight go 10 more seconds, we're not even having this fight. But it did. And I think we would all have much, much, much different feelings about this fight even happening. And about Jairzinho Rozenstruik had they allowed that fight to go 10 more seconds. That's just what I believe. And I think Overeem could have definitely made it. I'm going to say Francis Ngannou, though, first round knockout. Like I said, Rozenstruik, he gets hit way too much, especially with that right hand. I know Alistair is a southpaw, so that gave Rozenstruik some different looks. But Overeem was able to take Rozenstruik down at will. I don't really see that issue. I don't think either one of these guys are going to be going for a lot of takedowns. I think it's just going to be banging. Rozenstruik, I don't think he's going to be hesitant. I know some people mentioned that he could be hesitant. But I'm going to say that's a great fight, and Ngannou gets the first round knockout. I just don't like Ngannou swinging super wide and rushing into something. He definitely could. Steven gets outclassed by a good bit based on footwork. Qatar, you can't underestimate Qatar either, man. Stevens is just so hungry. He really needs a win too. That's a crazy one. That could be a toss up. Ngannou gonna take a loss. Wow, says PBR. Well, it definitely could happen. Like I said, Rozenstruik is, I believe, the more technical striker. You get later in the fight and cardio comes into play. Maybe Rozenstruik has better cardio. Cejudo and Dominic Cruz. This is an interesting one. Because Dominic Cruz, these odds have moved some. Cruz, I believe, came in a bigger underdog than he is now. This would be such a sensational comeback for Dominic Cruz to his career if he was able to come back and win the belt. And the guy, I believe he has the best footwork in the history of MMA. And I wasn't always the biggest Dominic Cruz fan because sometimes he would kind of rub me the wrong way. I got to know him better through his commentary. And now I understand the guy. I love the guy. The guy has a deep, deep love for the sport. A deep understanding from the sport as well. Unfortunately, I think he's had too many injuries. He's been out too long. He's only fought, I think, three or four times. I was looking earlier, possibly only 3 times since the end of 2016. I mean, just not enough experience. And Cruz has unfortunately had those big gaps in his career. He is still young for as many gaps as he has had. But I'll tell you the gaps. 34 years old now. Dominic Cruz, he was doing great. WEC. Fought 4 times in about a year. From March of 2010 to July of 2011. Then he beats Demetrius Johnson, beats TJ Dillashaw by split decision, beat Uriah Faber for the second time, then loses to Cody Garbrandt. Actually fought 3 times in 2016. January, June, and December. Unfortunately, that was the last time he fought. Think about it like this: from the last time Dominic Cruz fought, Barack Obama was still technically the president of the United States, and Donald J. Trump had not yet been sworn in. That's how long it's been since Dominic Cruz has fought at all. June 4th of 2016 is the last time he got a win, almost 4 years ago. So I just think it's just too much time off. I think Cejudo is able to get him down some. Could Cruz outstrike him? For sure. Absolutely. He could get it. He could get it. Dominic Cruz, I'm not counting him out. I have him a little bit bigger underdog than the odds have him, though. Cruz wins. He would likely get a returning Dillashaw next. That would be beautiful. Cejudo annoys me with not fighting real contenders. Well, he just fought Marlon Moraes, and that was his first... well, that wasn't even defense. That's when he won the belt. It was a vacant belt, remember? And then he won the 125-pound belt, defended against Dillashaw. Then he was injured. So he beat Demetrius Johnson to win the championship. Defended against TJ Dillashaw. Then he fought Marlon Moraes for the bantamweight, vacant time. I just don't think he's had the opportunity to fight the contenders yet. I don't think he's ducking anybody. I know Jose Aldo was the guy before this that came out. I know the criticism is that Henry Cejudo called Dominic Cruz out. So I can see where you're coming from on that. A guy that hadn't fought in almost 4 years. That is true. So that was an interesting call out. And I do think he thinks he was picking off a wink wink there. But I mean, Dominic Cruz, if he comes in 90%. I mean, look how he did in TJ Dillashaw when he was having some issues with that leg. Still defeated Dillashaw. Cruz will win round 1, says Mott. And if he can keep modifying, he could pull it off. But Super Cringe has crazy mental. Man, yeah, I think it's just going to be a great fight. The longer it goes on, the more I favor Cejudo, unfortunately. Not because Cruz doesn't have crazy cardio, but just the longer it goes on, the more likely you are to get a Cruz injury. Lose-lose situation for the division. Overcoming momentum. Isn't he Moraes fight? But yeah, that too. All right, guys, we're going to start this off. This whole thing starts out tomorrow. The early prelims at 3:30 p.m. Pacific. So I will be on here early. Before that, anyways. Somewhere at 3:15. I'll schedule it. I will definitely be on before 3:30, though. Not going to miss my buddy Sam Alvey. Really don't like champs being allowed to handpick their opponents. Yeah, that's interesting because that's never the way it was in the past. Even with a guy like Anderson Silva, who had defended so many times. And you even had speculation recently that it was Stipe Miocic's decision whether he fought Daniel Cormier or not. Remember, Cormier didn't want to give him the rematch at first. Fought in between. Stipe Miocic came out and clarified, though. He said, I just want a full camp right now. I'm doing something more important. He's a full-time firefighter, as most of you know. So I think that is more important right now. But they will fight definitely. He says, my next fight is definitely 100% Daniel Cormier. So undercutting momentum, like the Moraes fight. But yeah, that too. I believe that Henry Cejudo really, I don't think that he did enough against Demetrius Johnson to dethrone a champion with 13 defenses. But it is what it is. He got it. It was very close. But I thought he really, really became a champion when he beat Marlon Moraes. And I think he really moved into that top pound for pound, too. Tony, a 4-1 favorite. I don't believe that's true. Have the odds moved a lot? Last time I checked, it was, that wasn't the case. According to DraftKings Sportsbook, Justin Gaethje is a plus 168. Tony Ferguson is a minus 200 favorite. Henry Cejudo was moved up to a minus 230 favorite. Dominic Cruz a plus 185. That's kind of crazy to me. To have Dominic Cruz around the same amount of, same underdog as Justin Gaethje is. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. My pick on the main event may surprise you. Francis Ngannou is a minus 278 favorite against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. That has moved up significantly. Rozenstruik is a plus 225 dog if you're looking to bring in money on him. Calvin Kattar versus Jeremy Stephens. Kattar is a minus 250. Jeremy Stephens a plus 206. Does anybody know when they miss weight, does that affect anything? Not the odds, but that's what I think it really is. Does that do anything? So, yeah, I have no idea. If that affects the odds or not, or your ability to bet. I believe you can still bet. Greg Hardy, a minus 200 favorite against Yorgan De Castro. I like De Castro on that one at plus 165. Pettis still a favorite, minus 150. Cerrone plus 123. That's pretty close to even odds. Yes, Jeremy was underdog. Yeah, I know he was underdog the whole time. I just don't know how much they moved and if that bet is still open. If the bettors think it means anything. Only second time in Cruz's career that he has been underdog. Yeah, I seen that. That is some craziness. And then the main fight. Let's break down the main event, guys. Tony Ferguson, number 1 ranked lightweight versus the number 4 ranked lightweight in the world, Justin Gaethje. This is for the interim championship. Whether you think it should be for an interim championship or not, it's not really up to us, is it? It is what it is, and I think it's going to make for a great fight. I'm glad it's 5 rounds, and I think it's a championship caliber fight nonetheless. Yes, Jaron was underdog. Yeah, PBR Street Gang says Tony. So here's what I'll say. I have been watching a lot of footage on both of these guys. A lot of tendencies. When it comes to the ground game, submission game, Tony Ferguson. When it comes to power, Justin Gaethje. When it comes to cardio, Tony Ferguson. When it comes to wrestling, we really haven't seen Gaethje's wrestling much. But something I will tell you is Tony Ferguson, he doesn't take a lot of guys down. He uses that jiu-jitsu when he gets taken down. Will he have a different game plan for Gaethje? I don't know. But you know how they say MMA math doesn't add up. I say Conor McGregor. Let's start this out. I say Conor McGregor's a bad matchup for Justin Gaethje. I think Conor beats him. I think Tony Ferguson and Khabib are both bad matchups for Conor. I think they both beat Conor. Justin Gaethje, I think, is a bad matchup for Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov. So you got a weird kind of triangle here. Ferguson, if he can get into deeper rounds, obviously has the better cardio. Gaethje's been in some wars. First 2-time champion. Justin puts his head down and swings wildly, while Ferguson comes at you from different angles. Gaethje, I think, has changed up his style recently. He is getting hit less. He lands more strikes than anybody in the history of the UFC. Almost 9 strikes a minute. That's a lot. That is a head and shoulders above anybody else. Tony Ferguson is very hittable. Justin Gaethje hits very, very hard. That being said, Tony, I consider him basically undefeated in his modern-day career. He's, 11, 12 wins in a row? He hasn't been defeated. He got defeated by Michael Johnson years ago. He's nowhere near the same fighter right now. I think Justin is a terrible matchup for Conor. He won't quit, or Matt Quick Tap. Yeah, he won't quit, that's for sure. Justin Gatekeeper doesn't beat top 55er, says Pulse Reloaded. It's hard to say that Tony would lose. He's never been finished. That's one of these big things. He's never been finished. It's 5 rounds. I'm going to go back to one fight in particular, and let me know if you guys have watched this fight recently. I want to go back to Tony Ferguson versus Lando Venata. This was one of Tony's last fights. Was an Ultimate Fighter 22 finale, and Lando Venata had him very hurt in the first round, floored Tony several times. I thought Lando could have finished him, except for Venata got cocky. He kept on going into Ferguson's guard to try to land ground and pound. Did land some good ground and pound as Tony was just too out of it to get a submission that first round. Venata continued not only to outstrike Tony for a lot of that fight after he was hurt. Venata was able to take Tony Ferguson down, I believe, several times. Edson Barbosa took Tony Ferguson down. Tony Ferguson's wrestling is not top-notch by any means. Does Gaethje want to take him down? Probably not. We've never seen Gaethje submitted. There's so many unknowns in this. We've never seen Ferguson stopped. We've never seen Gaethje submitted. If I was Lando, had him walking on ice, but he eventually got finished. Lando versus Tony it was a great fight. Anyone know if they revealed any antibody results? So one, he said all the fighters took a test. Not that I know of. I know, yes, all the fighters did test negative except for, as we said, Sosa. I said draws, PBR. Oh, that would be horrible, man. But it could happen. Oh, that would be horrible. That would be horrible. Tony Eminari rolled against Barbosa. Yes, he did. I was surprised that Barbosa was able to take him down, though. Maybe that's just because Ferguson wasn't expecting it. If Gaethje does try to use his wrestling that we've heard so much about, I think he will be able to take Ferguson down. Will he want to take Ferguson down? I don't know, man. I don't know. But if Lando Venata could hurt Ferguson like that, and he is so hittable, Gaethje lands with such accuracy. I've never seen anybody really attack Ferguson's legs the way Gaethje does. Even Barbosa didn't. You know, as Ferguson started off that fight against Edson Barbosa with a leg kick, and I was very surprised Barbosa didn't really attack Ferguson's legs as he has against fighters in the past. Gaethje's going to attack those legs. Tony loses, he'll probably kick a pole out of frustration. I see a nut shot or eye poking happening in this fight. I'm going to lean, and I hate this. I'm going to tell you I hate this because I think it's a bad matchup for Tony. I think he got screwed. He's obviously, time and time again, worthy of a title shot. I think, like I said, it could definitely go either way, but I lean towards Justin Gaethje to get the knockout just because he has so much power. Tony is so hittable. I mean, look at this. I mean, that fight, that was a dogfight. He was just in a dogfight with Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone is a guy, I mean, we've all said at one time or another recently, pretty much all of us have said Donald Cerrone is a guy that's on the south side of his career. Don't say it, Mike. The Boogeyman versus Soapy. Say it. On the other side of his career, and I am going to say Justin Gaethje, second round knockout or doctor stoppage over Tony Ferguson. That is my pick. Justin Gaethje for the upset. If Justin wins, it's by KO. Tony by spinning elbow. Tony throws so many creative shots. I mean, you got to pick a winner in this one. That's the thing. And it could definitely go either way. I mean, Tony definitely could land a spinning shot. We've seen Justin. I mean, if anybody's hittable, it's Justin Gaethje. That guy gets hit a lot. Bad bet, says Matt. Tony hittable. Gaethje's been wobbled in every fight. Oh, they're both very hittable. Both very, very hittable. Gaethje's even more hittable. I'm not saying he's not. I think he hits harder. I think he hits harder. Now, as you've seen, Tony Ferguson seemed to get stronger in that second round when Lando Venata ran out of gas. And that's what really happened there. Ferguson started going to the body against Venata, especially with some of those brutal body kicks. And he ended up getting the Darce choke. But I believe it was because he tired Venata out and Venata tapped. If Ferguson gets it, I will say this. If Ferguson gets it, it could definitely be by submission. Another way I could see this going is just a Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier kind of fight, where Tony just lands a ton of shots, but Gaethje just lands them that much harder. Maybe that wins him a decision. Maybe it gets him the knockout. It is really hard to say, like I said, when Tony's never been knocked out. I just don't think Gaethje... I don't think he's willing to try to go on the ground and play that game with Ferguson. I mean, he doesn't really try to go to the ground with anybody. I don't see him changing that right now. Volume versus power. Yep. That's what I think. Justin's hit way more, and I think Tony's fight IQ is way higher. Crazy after. His fight IQ is pretty high. Tony will wear him down before finish, just like Pettis. Definitely could happen. Definitely could happen. Man, I've went back and forth on this fight, guys. And I've been picking Ferguson for quite a while. What's up, my rules? Good to see you on 12:30 here. Going to try to get up early for work. All right. Have a good day here regardless. I hope you're off in time to see those beautiful, beautiful fights tomorrow. Used to be able to talk to you, Mike, but now I don't know. Time of the fights at 3:30 p.m. Pacific. They will start at, what's up, Woodstrucker? But, that's why we have the conversation. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. Like I said, in what opinion? What's Dom's best ever performance other than Mizugaki? I thought Demetrius Johnson. 3:37 p.m. here. Holy crap, Multi-Speedo. Wow, that is quite the difference. So you're 7 hours behind me. So I got Dominic Cruz in the main card, in the main event. I got Justin, both to pull the upsets tomorrow. I got half of that. Oh, it's Sunday. What? It's Sunday. Multi-Speedo, it's not Sunday there. It's Saturday. And both fighters are so likable for me, it's a win-win. It's Friday here, so it can't be Sunday there. Might be Saturday. It's probably Saturday. But Aussie. Committed G's, I love it. Who you got, Mike? All right, I just broke down all my winners, but for those that are just coming in, I'll break down who I have for each fight. And I know, I ruffled a few feathers, but sometimes we got to do that. Prelims, like I said, it's hard. I just got to say Sam Alvey's a live dog at 4-1. And I don't do very good when I'm picking fights about friends, so I'm going to kind of abstain for that one. But I picked Tequila by KO. But the rest of the fights, that's going to be Ryan Spann, of course, against Sam Alvey in the very first fight. But then the early prelims starting 3 there. Bryce Mitchell versus Charles Rosa. Bryce Mitchell's a minus 165 favorite of Rosa. And that's how I have it. I think Mitchell's going to be too much for Rosa. I think he's too precise, too quick. Vicente Luque versus Nico Price. How did I miss this one before? I completely skipped it. Man, so tough. Vicente Luque is a minus 280 favorite. Nico Price a plus 230. I like that money, Nico Price, over a 2-1 odds. But if I had to bet straight up, Vicente Luque is very good on the ground. I don't see him getting knocked out by an up kick or a hammer fist on the ground. His striking is exceptional. He has great accuracy. I'm going to say Luque, although I love Nico. Yeah, I know Luque won the first time. Carlos Esparza versus Michelle Waterson. Esparza is a minus 155 favorite. Michelle Waterson plus 125. I got Carlos Esparza botting Michelle Waterson up. I think she'll take her down at will. I think she's just too strong, too big, and I think it's going to be a long night for Michelle Waterson. Carlos Esparza, unanimous decision. Fabricio Verdum, a minus 320 favorite in a fight against Alexei Olenek, who is plus 250. Verdum's had some time off. I think that might actually do well for him. After a year and a half, Olenek, he's been around this sport a lot. I think his chin is kind of shot, as we've seen in the last couple fights. I think Verdum catches him, but I'm going to say Verdum knockout second round. Pettis and Cerrone, I've went back and forth on this one. I am now saying, though, Donald Cerrone by third round stoppage or decision win. I think he's going to come back, and I think he's motivated to do cowboy stuff, as he said. I think he's going to be able to get it. Jorgen De Castro, I don't think Greg Hardy's going to have an answer for those leg kicks and a lot of other things Jorgen does on the feet. I got De Castro by unanimous decision. Greg Hardy, a 2-1 favorite in that one. But Jeremy Stevens versus Calvin Kattar. Stevens a plus 200, Kattar minus 230. I got Jeremy Stevens. I think he really needs a win by knockout. Francis Ngannou versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Ngannou almost a 3-1 favorite. I have him by first round knockout. I think Rozenstruik is just too easy to hit. Ngannou hits too hard. Good luck with that. Cejudo versus Cruz. Cejudo comes in a minus 240 favorite against a Dominic Cruz plus 190 that hasn't fought in almost 4 years. I think Cruz should be a bigger underdog than that. I think Cejudo gets it done. If Cruz gets it done, I think he gets it done fairly early. The longer the fight goes on, I think the better it gets for Cejudo. I think he's young enough. I think he's well enough and mentally strong enough to get by everything Dominic Cruz can hand him at this point in his career. And then Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. It's going to be a firecracker fight. I think it is a bad matchup for Ferguson, though. And I do take Justin Gaethje by knockout or unanimous decision. I'm going to say knockout, though. Hardy is too big with the athleticism. I'm not real confident in a lot of these picks, though. Such tough fights. Oh, Jesus, comedic. I'm going to say 280 pounds. Depends on who they are, though. Green Mitchell 2. Luque by KO, says Iman Report. Only question is if Vincente has taken enough damage in his past 7 fights to make it closer. He might. Honestly, think Cerrone is done in MMA and he'll lose that fight, too. He could be mentally done. It's, honestly, I flipped on that one today. I was kind of leaning towards Pettis. It was close. I watched a few interviews with Cerrone, and I don't know. I got a good feeling for him, but I mean, not to bet on it. I wouldn't bet on that fight. Stevens will need to win after losing 30% of his purse. Over 5 pounds off, I think it's either 40 or 50%. It could be, depending on what Florida's commission rules are, but that's a big miss. When you miss over 5 pounds, I think you lose more than 30. Cruz has good chin, size advantage, and reach. He definitely does. It's Tony time. Woo! They said 30, I heard. Man, it's... Yeah, you could definitely really go back and forth on that one. Either one of those guys could get it, Tony or Gaethje. Justin's a great wrestler. I wish he used it more. I don't think he's going to use it much against Ferguson, but like I said, I think Ferguson, he's been taken down fairly easily by guys that didn't have great wrestling. I didn't really notice that until I was breaking this fight down. And that makes me question a little bit more how that fight with Khabib's going to go. And I mean, obviously Khabib is going to take you down. Should Ferguson get through Gaethje. Any way around it, I have a hard time thinking that Khabib versus Tony won't happen one day, but who freaking knows? Fights start at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, so 6:30 Eastern. Tony loses his fight, fights Conor McGregor. Justin fights Khabib, winner of Conor versus Tony. Fights the winner of Khabib versus Justin. Boom. I like that scenario. I think it's great. I think Conor's going to fight Nate Diaz before that, though. Conor McGregor's next fight is Nate Diaz 3. And then I don't know if you guys have seen this, but what I am going to predict, if Khabib does not want to fight Conor right away, if he can't get a title shot right away, Conor McGregor goes back to boxing, and he will fight Oscar De La Hoya. You guys heard it here first. Conor McGregor versus Oscar De La Hoya will happen in 2021. I'm going to say that right now. Oscar De La Hoya versus Conor McGregor will happen in 2021. 100%. Well, I shouldn't say, didn't Dana say 100% on some things? Maybe not 100. How about like a 90? Masvidal versus Conor. Yeah, I heard that one come up too. I don't want Conor versus Diaz. God, the second fight was so great though, man. Nate Trilogy is all that's left for him in the UFC. Conor fights Masvidal next. Yeah, I did hear that out there, but I think Diaz is the easier fight. Although he has matched up well with Conor in the past. Happens. Oscar asks for a 2-round fight. Oscar will never get in shape for it. Did Oscar seriously ask for a 2-round fight? I didn't hear that. I know Oscar said that he would knock Conor McGregor out. And he guaranteed that he would knock Conor out. What's up, Kyle Woodward? Yeah, I like Conor versus Diaz 3 too. I just want a lot of fights to happen. There's enough time out there, guys, for Conor versus Diaz 3 to happen, for Tony versus Khabib, for Gaethje versus Khabib, Gaethje versus Conor. Hopefully we get to see all those fights. I mean, this is such a prime fighting time we're in like this. It feels like the middleweight division in the 80s in boxing or heavyweights in the 90s. That's what the lightweight and welterweight division, they're kind of running into each other, feels right now. We need Conor to fight new fighters like Masvidal, Khabib, Tony, not Diaz 3. Well, I already fought Khabib, but any fight at this point will work for me. This is true, yes. Anybody putting any fights out there? Mike Tyson time. Yes, for those of you guys that didn't see it before, Mike Tyson, he has gotten in shape during this quarantine, says he is ready to fight. He is taking offers, at least right now, for exhibitions. He was offered $1 million to fight an exhibition in Australia by a promoter. He was offered $20 million by Bare Knuckle Boxing to fight and choose his opponent. Then Heavy.com the other day reported that a fight was made with Mike Tyson versus Shannon Briggs, who is 48 years old. Mike Tyson's 53. That was immediately said that was false. Shannon Briggs, I mean, that guy's on so many steroids. He's going to melt the cup, so you better have some testing for that one. I don't know what kind of testing BKB has. But, yeah, Shannon Briggs looks like there's going to be a steroid shortage in the country sometime. He's taking them all. For Conor, I want him to take on Masvidal, Diaz, Poirier, Gaethje, and Tony. That would be good. Mike versus Tito Ortiz. Mike Tyson versus Tito Ortiz in a boxing or MMA match? I mean, boxing, Tyson wins. MMA, Ortiz wins. Tyson is not fighting. He's just cloud chasing. I think he could definitely fight in an exhibition match. Exhibition matches are 3 rounds. No real judging, headgear. And Tyson gets to go out there, probably knock somebody through the ropes a couple times. And how can a bare knuckle promotion afford $20 million? I mean, I guess they're thinking we would all want to see it. Can you tell me that you're not going to watch Bare Knuckle 12 if Mike Tyson's in it? I'm sure as hell not going to miss it. Mike versus Crawford. I heard, but I doubt it. Connor should fight Lucas Matheus. That would be great. I'm not actually sure who that is. I'm a little embarrassed, Woodstrucker, but can't think of who that is. Betzer could come for one more. Tyson kills Ortiz in either. Matt. Make more money now in pay-per-view compared to back then. He'll triple what he got. Oh, absolutely. I thought about that. Tyson versus Herschel Walker. I thought about enough that I looked it up to see how old Herschel Walker is. I believe he's 58 now, though. And I mean, 5 years at their ages is a lot. But when Herschel Walker fought in MMA in his 40s, he looked very good. Very good. So, I mean, it could happen. Holyfield said he's interested in the comeback and interested in the fight at 57. There's a ton of fighters thrown there. Oh, I really do not want to see those guys fight in BKFC. I would be seriously worried about lives. And generally, it would be Evander Holyfield's life at 57 years old. That guy just does. Yeah, he's 48. Thank you, Matt Roch. That sounds familiar now. He was 5 years younger than Tyson is now. Tyson looked great in training recently. If you've seen videos, he's Mike frickin' Tyson. The guy's still got the power. He's still got pretty good speed and reflexes. If he fights somebody older, could he get it done? Sure. Tyson. Oh my God! Versus CM Punk. How awesome would that be? How awesome would that be? CM Punk might die though. I don't think Tyson's gonna have. Any mercy on him. Matisse first to beat Adrian Broner. That sounds familiar now. I am a big time Broner. I cannot stand Adrian Broner. So I don't know why I didn't remember that name. Think Mike Tyson beats Wilder. Probably knock him out. Like that white boy Calzaghe knocked Bernard Hopkins flying out of the ring into the ground. It wasn't Calzaghe that knocked Hopkins out, but in his last fight. But I would not want to see Wilder connect on a 53-year-old Mike Tyson. The guy's so nice now. He's got his podcast. He's got his weed business. He's got his cartoon. I don't want to see the guy get hurt. I love the idea of him fighting in like an exhibition or something. Like I said, Calzaghe didn't KO Biop. Oh, he might have at one time, but the Hopkins' last fight of his career, where he got knocked out of the ring, was not against Calzaghe. I can't even think of the guy's name. It was like a no-name. It was supposed to be his retirement fight at 50. Wouldn't that be crazy if Tyson took the heavyweight belt at 53? George Foreman was 45 when he did it. I was watching it on my Uncle Joe's couch, actually, watching him lose every single round until that big right hand near the end of the fight took Michael Moore out of there. Tyson, wow. Have you guys heard the rumors about Tyson fighting Fury? He was actually called out by Tyson Fury's dad, who was 2 years older than Mike Tyson. Somebody give me help the name of Tyson Fury's father. I can't remember what his name is. I look it up. But his father called out Mike Tyson. So, I hope that fight wouldn't happen. Props to him for having the balls to say he would fight him. But, man, that's not a fight I'm interested in. I don't want to... Tyson's not your average 50-year-old. If he fights anybody else over 50 years old, I just think he's... John Fury, thank you guys. Yep, that is correct. That's right, I couldn't think of it. Tyson versus Mark Hunt. Joe Smith Jr., thank you. Thank you, Matt Roch. You guys are on it. I should have had those as trivia questions. I'd have had to look him up, though. Tyson versus Mark Hunt could be brutal, especially on bare knuckle. Wasn't that Danny Green against Roy Jones Jr.? Danny Green did, I believe, defeat Roy Jones Jr. Got it wrong. Sorry with that. Oh, no problem. Slurry, flurry, fury. How about Tyson versus Butterbean? People would probably pay for it. Oh, he would knock the shit out of Butterbean. I mean, that guy did not really have the skills. He had power. He did good for what he was. He was a tough man guy. He came out of the tough man competition that I fought in tough man a couple times. Years back. I don't know if that's still around, but yeah, that's where Butterbean came out of. Eric Esch. Yep, Eric Butterbean Esch. Also, fun fact, I believe Butterbean is actually banned from the country of Japan. So, Fat Quentin versus Old... Oh, my goodness. I think he would knock the shit out of... I think he knocks the shit out of Quentin Rampage right now. Quentin Rampage is... He's... I hate to say this about the guy because he's given so much blood in the cage, but he just did not show up against Fedor. I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but he just didn't show up. He should not be inside of a cage, a ring, a gym, any of those things. The guy, jump on the exercise bike, Rampage, but outside of that, stay away from fighting. That guy, he mailed it in a couple fights ago. Butterbean versus Tank Abbott and BKFC. Tank Abbott had a stroke not too long ago. He's very skinny now. He was he died, I think, like 6 times on the operating table. Oh, it's craziness. I'm pretty sure he's definitely not fighting anybody again. I would hope not. Tyson versus Steve-O. Oh my goodness. Steve-O would probably do it. Okay, how about Tyson versus Faye? Tyson versus Oscar. Oh my goodness. Yeah, if you really want to see Oscar De La Hoya murdered. Absolutely murdered. I mean, I'm 41. I'm 12 years younger than Mike Tyson. And, no thank you. Absolutely no thank you. Ask me the question after I've had as much time as I want and as much training as possible to get in shape. No. Fuck no. Never. Not a chance. Give me enough money, obviously. Sure. But I'd fight Butterbean. I'd fight Butterbean myself. I'd fight Butterbean. Give me 3 months to train, I'd fight Butterbean. He's old as shit. He's got to be like 60 years old. 400 pounds. Guy can't move around. But no, Mike Tyson, he's back. He's the real deal. For sure. So will these other events happen? I will tell you, not all the fights. Not all the fights. Possibly not all the events. This Jacare thing's going to throw a big monkey wrench in a lot of things. A lot of things. Leading up to this, and I'll slam another beer here, guys, and open up the chat. Whatever you guys want to talk about, have at it. Throw some subjects out there. Bill, if you want to call in, go for it. My Skype is on, sir. Just move the testing up. Possibly. I mean, they tested over 1,100 people, I guess. Or no, it was over 1,100 tests. I think Dana was saying. So I think some people got tested more than several times. What's David Tua doing these days? I always wanted to see him fight Mike Tyson. What's my handle? On what? Twitter, it's at FightsWFriends. They'll move the timeline up. Oh, sorry, you're talking about Skype. Sorry, let me turn the Skype on here. I think about what my actual handle is. It's just fightswithfriends@gmail.com. That's correct, and you'll see Michael Benedict. So give me a call. Go ahead and call in. Anybody want to call in? On Skype, I am open to it. Well, whoever gets there first. Skype fightswithfriends@gmail.com. Michael Benedict. Send me an invite. Let me know when you sent me an invite and I'll accept it. So next live Sports Center will be at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. If there are any updates that haven't already been reported, I imagine they will be on ESPN Sports Center tomorrow. Bought a gun, couldn't get it because my license expired. Damn it! Put it in layaway, I owe 79 cents. Oh my geez, that sucks, man. What's your favorite Dominic Cruz fight? Oh, that TJ Dillashaw fight was amazing, man. The Dillashaw fight was amazing. The second fight against Uriah Faber was amazing. Foo? Are you saying F you? Why would you say that about me? Why would you say that to me, Baruto? All right. Ratio, I see this on Skype here. Let me see if I can accept your invitation here. Dillashaw fight was great. Yep. All right, Matthew Rotch says, I'd like to add you on Skype. Accept, sir. All right, Matthew. You were the first one to send me. I'm calling you right now, sir. Let's bring in Matthew. If you would like. Hello, sir. Oh, it says Matthew is unavailable. Oh, okay. Well, give me a call when you feel like it, if you feel like it. Matthew, I called him. I called you prematurely, maybe. We said Kung Fu. Dom versus Faber 1 was great as well. Cruz is now fighting Father Time. He's only 34, too. He's just had so many injuries. Guys just had so many injuries. Somebody said they like my commentating when I get hammered, so I'm just going to start downing, guys. Let the rock roll. And like I said, with some extra on that Corona. Cheers, my friends. Also really enjoyed Cody fight, even as a Cruz fan. I couldn't believe what I was watching. If Cruz wins, I want that rematch. Oh, I definitely would like to see that. I was very surprised to see Cody fight. Man, talk about a guy with so much potential that kind of fizzled out. I mean, who had more potential that fizzled out than Cody Garbrandt? Cody says he wants to save the flyweight division. Some wines go better with certain foods. What beer goes best with JoJo versus the Bullet? Is that a movie? Oh, Ioanni and Chenchek versus Wiley Zhang. Duh. What beer goes best with that? Oh, I would grab a Heineken, my friend. Of course, that seems pretty obvious. And Stephen A. Smith coming on here, of course, saying the obvious. No one else has tested positive. Why is this guy talking about MMA? Joanne Calderwood. Oh, it's too bad the way Cody fought after that. He's in a new camp now, though. I'd like to see him now. Who is out tomorrow, Mike? What's up, Mac209? So Jacare Souza has tested positive, unfortunately, for the unnameable virus. Jeremy Stevens, over 5 pounds overweight. I believe he weighed in 150 and a half. I don't know if Calvin Kattar has accepted that fight yet or not. Jeremy Stevens missed by enough that Calvin's under no obligation to take that fight. So here is Dana White. He said, we administered 1,200 tests this week on 300 people. It's not unexpected one person would test positive. The system works. And what's good about this is now we know Jacare tested positive. He's doing what he needs to do, and we're in a position to help him if he needs it. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. Some of this for some of you that have been in here for a while, but for those that are just joining us, some updates. Serious question. Stephen A. Smith versus CM Punk. CM Punk might actually be able to get a win if he were to fight Stephen A. Smith. It depends on if Stephen A. Smith's able to get that training from Freddie Roach, but I will tell you this. If you were to allow groin shots, Stephen A. Smith all day, every day. Have you seen this guy's groin shot technique? I mean, it is legendary. It is unheralded. I mean, he puts Keith Hackney to shame. Stephen A. Smith, he's been practicing groin shots like a ninja. This guy's, you see Stephen Smith, you better be wearing a cup because he's coming after the balls. Oh, you need a wristband to be in the hotel right now. The Fighter Hotel. No fans allowed in there. Nobody's allowed in the hotel unless you're part of the UFC. Wow. And they do have restaurants open. Some of these guys are having meals before the fights. McCoos, thank you for the $4.99 donation, sir. Very much appreciated. So, and the UFC has conferred with the Florida State Athletic Commission. They are saying that this will go on, but thank you again for the donation, McCoos. And here we have Matthew Roch coming in.
Mike, can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Matthew? Sorry. Let me try to turn this up. Matthew?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. I think I'm on a little bit of a delay, but I'm trying to catch it up.
All right. I think you're good now. I think it might have actually even been my the volume on this side. So how's it going, sir?
It's going great. How are you?
I'm good. Good. You surviving through this whole thing well, I see, hopefully?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I think we're all going to be okay.
I was stocked up early.
Have you ordered this pay-per-view yet, or you wait until the last minute?
I'll wait till the last minute.
Yeah, me and you both.
So one thing I think we should talk about is this the Gaethje Tony fight.
Yeah.
So there's something I see in this fight that I think Connor's a far worse matchup for Tony than Gaethje.
Really?
Based on his ability to strike, his precision, and his timing. That's why I think Tony's like, I mean, if I were going to create the betting line, I think he's probably a 4-1. Tony's a 4-1 favorite in this fight.
He is very accurate.
Based on that.
And I'll agree with you. I do think Connor actually has the most accurate boxing in the UFC, as much, smack as I've talked about him at times.
Well, that's the other part of it in this fight is that any of the drawback that I hear is about Tony being taken down by wrestlers. But I think there's one perfect fight to take as the example, which is Kevin Lee. I don't think he cares at all about being taken down. He was mounted in round 1 and he finishes by triangle a little bit later in the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I've went back and forth on this fight so many times. Because I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but like I said earlier, Tony Ferguson's never been finished. Justin Gaethje's never been submitted. I mean, I think one of those things is going to give tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, did you hear because that was one of the good points that you brought up was the Venata fight. Did you hear the interview with Lando? It was probably only a year ago, but he was looking back on the Tony fight.
Yeah. I don't believe I did not. I'm pretty sure I did not.
Because he's super incredibly talented.
Absolutely.
Incredibly talented, and Tony didn't understand what he was walking in there against.
Yeah, that was his UFC debut for Lando
right.
Venata. Over a 4-1 underdog.
Yep. And I don't think Tony was being as cautious as he needed to be. But Lando looked back at it and he was like, it'd be a different fight today, but Tony would fight a completely different fight today too.
Yeah, and I mean, what about Venata's chin in that? I mean, I really haven't seen. I mean, Gaethje has been hit a lot. I think his chin's pretty good, but I mean, Tony hit him with spinning back fists. When he really hurt him was when he went to the body with those kicks, and he tired him out, of course.
Yeah, I mean, once he tired him out, he landed that one. It was almost a right cross jab. Where Lando's standing there with his hands down, and that's kind of when it was over. Enough of his movement was gone.
Yeah, he definitely blew his gas tank.
But yeah, I mean, if I were going to be betting this weekend, I think Calvin Qatar.
Yeah.
I think him and Tony is probably the best combo to bet on. I think Steven's, like, literally from a footwork basis, I think it's going to surprise a bunch of people, but I think he's going to get outclassed a bit. He's going to look outclassed. Especially being overweight, he's even going to be slower.
That's an interesting take on it. So you think him missing weight's going to work against him?
I think it's going to basically, it's going to make Kelvin's advantages even a little bit bigger. I think it's going to hurt him.
See, I mean, you might be right on it, but I'm coming at it from a totally different angle. I'm thinking when they step into the cage, maybe they're close to the same weight. But that Jeremy Stevens, he didn't have to deplete his body in that way. And who knows why he missed that much weight. I mean, there could be a lot of things going on with him as to why he missed his weight. Maybe he's not 100% healthy. I don't know.
It's probably because he's not trained properly. He's been at home, right?
Camps. Yeah.
Well, 100%. I mean, I think that's the reason he missed weight. I mean, when he went down to fight, when he went down to Mexico, right, to fight, what's his name? You know what I'm talking about? Rodriguez, right.
Yeah.
The amount of preparation that Stevens puts in just in an ongoing fight, I think he got hurt more especially with his age, his number of fights. I think he got hurt more by not being able to train properly than apparently anyone else in the card, which is why he missed weight. And I think him missing weight, not only him being heavier, is going to take away some of his existing movement. I think him missing weight is going to show that he's less prepared by far than he would like to be. So that's why it's a big part of the reason why I think when that fight starts, it's going to go real bad. And I don't think he's going to be able to recover from, I think he's going to get outclassed.
And he did have a real bad start against Rodriguez.
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of came back on it, but, wasn't able to close the distance, wasn't able to pull it off.
When he went down there, 2 months early?
Yeah, and he was training with Tony Ferguson, which so I'm kind of surprised that I didn't hear more coming out of this camp of Jeremy and Tony training together. But I mean, I have no idea who's training together at this point with this going on.
Right.
I mean, I talked to Sam and, to Sam Alvey, and I mean, he's really, was not training with a whole lot of people except for, head trainers. Wasn't really training with a lot of other fighters. He got in some work with Chris. God, and right now his last name slips my memory, but he was the guy on PFL that lost, retired, and then had to come back out and fight again in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of that's how I'm looking at that fight. This is kind of a setup for Sam to lose because he's got a big name, and he's got a big name based on his career. So I think they're going to try to pass the torch. But that's the thing with Sam is he's got one of the best punches in the division. So he's always going to have that chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's probably fighting a little bit uphill in this one, but you can never count him out. You just can't.
I think he's definitely got a good puncher's shot in this one. And I mean, I think he's one of these guys that has never gotten the praise that's due him. They always talk about Cowboy and different guys. This is a guy that fought 6 times in 1 year, 14 times over a 2.5 year span for the UFC. And I mean, I've never heard anybody mention it on ESPN or anywhere else.
Well, he should get the most credit for his attitude because he's such a positive, good dude.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And his wife's always in there, right?
Yeah. They seem to have a good connection, good family dude. I'd like to see him as a commentator afterwards. And he's got his podcast out there right now he's working on. So,
yep.
Mexico City is a whole other monster itself, says Woodstrecker. At least they're not fighting at elevation after not training for so long. I don't know what the elevation of Florida is, but I know it's not mile high. Well, they're at ocean. They're basically zero.
Well, let me ask you about this one because this is one of the interesting things. Well, I think there were 2 big stories to me this week. Right. The first one is that I think we have a story of the year candidate with Luke Rockhold getting attacked by a zombie in his story. Did you hear that one? I think he actually delivered the story on Submission Radio.
I have no idea, actually. I missed this, I guess.
All right. So he did an interview, and I think they broke the story on Submission Radio. Right. But he was walking his dog. I think it was down Sunset or whatever it was, whatever street it was on. But he was looking to buy some food, was looking to see what restaurants were open, and it was one of the funniest. I think it's up there for story of the year because it was so funny. So here's his perspective. He's like, yeah. So I turn onto the main road, Sunset or whatever, and I'm walking my dog, and I'm all hooded up in a mask, and nobody knows who I am. But I walk around the corner and I see there's a couple sketchy characters there, right? And there was this one kid in particular, so I kept my eye on him. But a little further down the road, there was this girl sitting on a bus stop bench. And I didn't really pay any mind to her because she looked completely out of it. She was like, she looked really challenged, homeless, whatever kind of a story you want to put, that was her. So I'm walking down the street and I'm looking across the street. I keep my eye on this one kid, but then all of a sudden I get within 20 feet, 25 feet of the park bench, and she literally jumps up like a zombie. Her arms are up, waving weird, and she starts charging me.
Oh, wow.
And then she starts it was like she was going to hock a loogie and try to spit something on me. And I knew at the time, I could see her. I knew what she looked like there was stuff going on. There was blood on her face. She was really messed up. And I knew that I didn't want any part of that. And then this is when the submission radio guys come in and ask, and they're like, so how do you feel in that type of situation? I know I would be scared, but do you get scared in that situation? And Luke's like, yeah, I didn't really have time to get scared, but 25 feet in and she started charging me. And then she got to 15 feet. And I didn't really think anything of it. I just reacted. And this is when he starts talking about, he starts, instead of referring to her as a her, he starts referring to her as an it. It's so funny. He's like, yeah, the thing is charging me and gargling, and it's like a zombie. And then all of a sudden I unleash the most direct front kick of all time. And the thing flew up in the air and just landed splat on the ground. And then it started. Have you ever seen a vampire getting burned by the sun? It was doing that. It was one of the funniest stories of all time.
I totally thought you were going to say she landed a right hand and knocked Rockhold out cold. But no,
after that, he was like, I checked myself. I didn't have any spit marks. I was clean. And I wanted to document, but this is the one time I left my house. And I left my phone at home to charge, so I didn't have a way to document. So I just kept on walking.
Wow. Oh, of course. Sometimes you need a little silence, I guess. That's hilarious. Well, not really. I'm glad he's okay.
It was incredibly, it was funny. Anyway, the other story that I thought was extremely interesting this week, and I know there was a follow-up interview with Brett Okamoto. Did a follow-up interview with Stipe.
I did see that.
So all of Cormier with the DC and Ariel show on Monday, he was going through sign the deal and whichever. But when I saw that follow-up interview with Stipe, and I appreciated he took the exact reaction he was supposed to take. Everything was in line from a messaging perspective. Yeah. But when I looked at him, it looked like he had lost all the muscle in his body. He looked like a regular dude at this point. Yeah, he looked like he doesn't look like the same person to me.
Well, he's been working full-time as a firefighter, and I imagine full-time right now means probably 20-hour shifts. You're probably working that whole 20 hours.
But you understand, but at the same point in time, you understand the life of a firefighter, right?
Oh.
They go to a firehouse and they wait for a call, and they don't get very many calls, and they work out. They lift weights and they work on cardio. That's a firefighter's life, is to actually work out. He doesn't look like he's been even firefighting to me. He looks thin. He looks drawn out. He doesn't. He looks like he just hasn't done anything to me. It looks like he's lost a couple years worth of training in the matter of 6 months.
Well, he had to have surgery on his eyes. He thought he might never fight again. Yeah,
but that doesn't stop. I mean, Tony came back from a knee surgery 6 months later and was in the ring. He went home from the knee surgery and started doing curls. That's what I'm saying. He did have an eye surgery, but he looks like he hasn't done anything in 2 years to me. That's how he looks physically. He looks just like another dude. His face is thin. His neck is thin. I think he's lost half of his muscle mass. I'm just saying, that's what I saw from that interview.
Well, I know he's also had some back issues. And on top, maybe that's why he said that he's not willing to fight until he's able to get a full training camp in. Maybe he knows he's way out of shape. But you never know how his body is going to shape out as they get older. I know he's not hit 40 yet, so he shouldn't be losing that much muscle mass, but that is interesting.
Yeah, I think when he comes back, he's going to be 6 months behind where he thinks he is. That's what I think's going to. I'm just reading between the lines today. I think he's going to. I need 4 or 5 months, and when he gets a couple months in, he's going to be like, I need another 4 to 5 months over the top of what I just requested, because I'm nowhere near who I was before. That's what I saw in that interview, physically.
What's up, RK Chaos? I see Pulse Reloaded says Stipe volunteers 2 days out of the month. I thought he was full-time. Maybe I'm wrong.
Now, he's part-time at best, but I thought it was more than that many days. But even if he's a firefighter, they go to the house and they have a cook and they eat good and they work out. Like that's what they do. They lift weights and they do cardio drills. He hasn't been doing that at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, if you're 2 days out of the week, that's 40 hours because you're 20. I mean,
2 days out of the month.
20 on, 20 off.
2 days out of the month is what he said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he does more than 2 days out of the month, but I don't know. I hadn't heard that, but that could be correct. As a Stipe fan, as I've said, my favorite fighter, I agree with Daniel Cormier saying that he never should have lost to him. And unfortunately, I think Daniel Cormier is a bad matchup for Stipe Miocic. And unless Daniel Cormier has lost a lot of something, I think Daniel Cormier honestly should be able to defeat him again fairly easily.
If he works on being able to take a couple shots to the body. What's his heavyweight record though? He's like 16-1 or something at heavyweight.
Oh yeah, that was his first loss at heavyweight for Cormier. Well, that was so crazy that Stipe just comes into that fourth round and he just keeps throwing the same shot over and over and over again, and Cormier doesn't block it at all. I mean, that's one of the strangest things I've seen in championship history.
Yeah, it's because he's 5'10" or whatever, and he spent all his time working on a range and not defense. He's such a good boxer for being a wrestler, though, and his height.
He
it's incredible.
Stipe in that match. I watched that fight again last week, and I criticized DC a lot for the eye pokes in that fight. I'm sure people remember me saying, kind of alluding to the fact that maybe some of them weren't accidental, but I watched what he was doing. What Cormier was doing, it was almost like a Jeet Kune Do style hand game where he would put his hands out and he would lock hands almost with Stipe, and then he would punch. I mean, it was some very high level stuff. I was very impressed.
He learned all that to deal with John Jones.
Yeah, and that's probably, he probably learned a few eye pokes too, I figured. But
100%. I was like, it worked. I should probably put that in my arsenal.
maybe let Stipe wear goggles for the next fight. I don't know, but
they can both do the Kurt Rambis.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be interesting. What's your thoughts on Nagano and Rosenstruck?
I mean, Rosenstruck is like he has a long history in kickboxing, right?
Yeah,
he's going to be
a more technical fighter, I think.
He's going to be way more technical.
Yes.
But I think after Derek Lewis, well, I guess here's what I would say is I think Francis has learned. And I think his default demeanor is to sit back and wait for his shot.
Yeah.
Right? And I think with Derek Lewis, that didn't work out because Derek's a counterpuncher by nature as well.
Yeah.
But I think, like, if you look at the Rosenstruck's last fight.
Oh, yeah.
And trying to walk through that fire. Like, I don't know if he can't do that against Alistair. Like, he walked through everything Alistair had.
Alistair's also 39 years old, I believe.
Though, yeah, now. But he's also a KO artist. I'm just saying the power that he has and all that. Like, I'm just saying, Rosenstruck's demeanor, I don't know, like, he's relied on his chin his whole career through kickboxing, through, like, to get to where he is. I don't know if he can not do that. And if he tries to do that against Francis, Francis is going to hit him, and he's never going to felt that before, period. I think Francis catches him, probably in maybe the second or third round. I mean, it could happen earlier, but I think he'll be able to get out. He'll last at least a round and a half to me. But I don't think he'll be able to, like, I don't know if he'll know what to do. I don't think he'll ever be able to sit back because he's never been really, really hurt from the looks of it. And Francis is going to hurt him.
I seen both guys weighed in at around 260. I believe
Francis is so much bigger, though.
I believe Francis used to cut from 285. And then he slimmed down a little bit after that Stipe fight. But yeah, I think he is a lot bigger. I think I agree with you. I think Rosenstruck's too easy to hit. I mean, Alistair was able to land basically at will. And then, we got a lot of takedowns and things. But, I mean, he hit him a lot. I think Nagano gets him out in the first round, honestly.
Yeah, I think he'll take shots for a round and a half. The other fight that I was curious about your take on was the Hardy fight. Dan Hardy? Not Dan Hardy, but Greg Hardy?
Greg Hardy, yeah. It's going to be interesting. Greg Hardy's kind of an enigma because he's a lot better fighter. I think of him as a lot better fighter now than I did before he fought Alexander Volkov, even though he lost.
Well, here's what I think about this one. The guy that he's fighting has fought before at 195 pounds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's way too big. I don't think the other guy has any chance in hell to beat Greg Hardy at all.
Castro does have a lot of weight around the midsection. I did notice that. He's got some vicious leg kicks, though.
Yeah, I based on size and just sheer athleticism, I don't really give him a shot to beat Greg Hardy in this fight.
I don't know. Do you remember? I mean, what was it, 11 seconds or something like that? He finished that fight in Dana White Contender Series by leg kicks quick in that first round. I mean, obviously Hardy, I'm sure, has been training for that. He's very athletic. But, I mean, leg kicks from a guy that big, he could do some damage.
That's the thing, though. I don't think he's that big. When you put a guy that has a frame of a 200-pounder against a solid 270 with NFL Pro Bowl talent, just my take, but I don't think he has a real shot in the fight. That's just my viewpoint on it, my take.
Well, thinking back a little bit on Greg Hardy, I can't remember what fight it was, but I remember him getting a quick knockout, and I remember the look in his eyes, and I thought, man, that is the look of an absolute killer. And I mean, almost like not even a fight. I mean, there was just like such a killer instinct. I do remember, feeling that, and that he does have an athleticism for being in the NFL that a lot of these guys are not going to be able to compete with.
Yeah, he's the fighter version of Brendan Schaub. Yeah, Brendan Schaub was a comedian version. Well, I'm just saying, size, athleticism. He's also mean.
Oh, he is very mean. Right. De Castro, he's 6'1". He came in at 265 pounds. I'm just looking. He's undefeated. He's got 5 knockouts, 1 decision. I'm not sure when he fought at 190. I don't see weights on him. I'm looking on SureDog, but I know his last fight he knocked out Justin Taffa, 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and then the one before that was on Dana White Contender Series where he got the leg kicks, first round knockout. So I mean he's got 3-4 first round knockouts in 6 fights. I mean, I think he does have some power. 5 knockouts out of his 6 wins. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, I guess he's a favorite, a pretty big favorite for a reason. But
Yep.
Mac 209 says DeCastro versus a Hardy disqualification. Oh, that's funny. I don't think he's gonna. I think he knows not to take the albuterol now. That was an interesting situation. But,
What's the current line for DeCastro?
Hardy's a pretty heavy favorite. He's over 2-1.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring it up here right now. I got it on DraftKings Sportsbook. It is. Yeah. Anyways, over a 2-1.
Yeah.
Castro is built like Bellator heavyweights. This poster, that is certainly not a compliment.
He's built like Roy Nelson.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Bellator's become like WCW was, taking all the old WWE characters, back in the day, but it doesn't quite work the same when it's real fighting. Oh, man. Yeah, Bellator might go bank. Greg Hardy minus 200. Jorgen De Castro plus 165. That's the current line. So, and I'm very surprised to see that one on the main card when there's so many other great fights, though.
NFL. To pull those fans in.
Yeah, that's true. WCW will win if they form an NWO, says Wayne. I don't think they're around anymore. What's up, Tom Brown? I don't know. I haven't kept up with wrestling for years, but I'm pretty sure WCW is not a thing anymore. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I went back to the AWA.
Oh, yeah, back with Arn Anderson and all those guys. Yeah.
Vern Gagne.
Yeah, that's some old school.
That's where Hulk Hogan got his start.
I didn't know that. Greg Hardy is a villain, says Amen Report. That's true. He's definitely a villain. He plays the part well.
Yeah, that's exactly why he's in the main card. You have a wrestling villain to pull NFL fans in. Just a couple percent, but...
And everybody wants to see him lose. Yes, the fight got canceled. So Torrin Brown, the fight got canceled. Jacare Souza tested positive for the Khabib Tony virus. Jeremy Stevens and Kelvin Qatar. I haven't seen Qatar turn down the fight, so I'm guessing that one's happening. But Stevens weighed in at over 5 pounds over. He weighed in at 150.5. And then Michelle Watterson and Carla Esparza. I can't say a whole lot about it, but don't be surprised if you wake up to that fight being canceled. I think that's kind of all I can say about that one for now.
Hey, Mike, what's the deal with this not being able to say the virus sponsored by Modelo?
From what I've heard, that everybody's getting demonetized if you put it in the words. They're going through people's videos, searching for it on keywords. And I was listening to a Rogan podcast where he was talking to Tim Pool. And Tim Pool actually wrote a name down. And he said, if you say this name, your video will immediately get pulled. He wrote it down and said, do not say that name, because I've had all my videos pulled where I said that name. So I don't know. It's a very weird situation.
Is it Fauci?
Oh, I wouldn't think it was Fauci. It's probably, if I was to guess, it's probably that doctor that's been in this. And I better be careful here, but we'll change subjects here quick. But in that new pandemic video that's been being deleted off YouTube like wildfire.
It's not the Ulster guy, is it? I'm not going to say the name, but...
It's a female doctor who had worked with Fauci, I guess, back in the 80s. And I'm not taking anybody's side on this.
Oh, so the whole video is about the funding of the chemical weapons plant in... over there in Wuhan?
I was only able to see part 1 because I wasn't able to find part 2. Oh no, what I was seeing was that Fauci had a bunch of patents. Basically, what her accusation, I think, is that Fauci likes to get the patents on things before he saves lives, and that a lot of people passed from HIV and malaria while he was working on getting the patents to make sure he got paid. I believe that's the accusation.
Gotcha.
The value.
Yeah, I've been trying to stay away from it a little bit lately. It's getting old.
Oh yeah. Oh, I definitely hear you. Yeah, and I think people kind of they're tuning into other things to try to get away from it.
Yep.
How would Van Dam fare in MMA? Rob Van Dam was one of the first fighters in one of the first MMAs. He's 53 years old and fought Royce Gracie. Got his ass kicked. Pulse reloaded. Pretty sure that was him. Valuetainment podcast, says Makusa. I don't know. It's free, so I guess it's a value. I don't know. We got Matt Roch here helping me out here on the mic, helping the conversation move along. So thank you for coming in. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. If I'm helping.
No, absolutely. Giving me more things to talk about, giving us some more angles on things. And
would you not want to see the Mike Tyson versus Oscar De La Hoya fight?
I don't know if I would a bit off in weight there.
I don't know if I would mind that so much though at this point.
Well, I wonder what Oscar walks around at. He might walk around at over 200. He has gotten damn annoying in his older age. I will say that.
Yeah, I kind of appreciate Dana's take at this point.
Yeah. Oscar's a weird dude. I will definitely say that.
I also think if John Fury is going to call out Mike, he should get in the ring with him. I do, because he was talking about a different fight with somebody that called him out. Oh, did you hear that interview with him on the BBC? Somebody called him out, and he was actually going to go box some guy.
Well, I didn't see that. I know he was a former professional boxer. I don't want to see him get in there with Mike, though. It's he would get hurt. I kind of have a feeling that anybody over 50 is going to get hurt against Mike.
But do you think it's fair for him to try to put Mike in against his son, Tyson?
No, I think he was challenging him. John Fury was challenging him personally. John Fury's, I believe, is 2 years older than Mike.
John Fury was saying that he would fight Mike Tyson?
Yes, he was a former professional boxer. He wants to fight Mike Tyson.
Oh, well, then he has significant brain damage then. I think it's clear.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he does, too, yeah. Yeah, they named Tyson Fury after Mike Tyson, in respect.
No, 100%. But I thought that story was that John was trying to call out and get Mike Tyson in the ring with Tyson Fury, like his son.
No, he
was going to fight him. That's insanity.
And absolutely. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't want to see old people get hurt. I don't think of Mike Tyson as an old person unless he's going to fight, Tyson Fury. I don't think that would be a good idea for him. But that
was another thing. Did you see the hot boxing episode where they brought Holyfield on? I think it was just a couple months ago.
Yeah, I did.
They cut it off after 10 minutes, and they just ended it because he couldn't. He's out of there.
Yeah, he definitely should not be fighting. He said he would come back and fight Tyson. He's 57.
Well, they're all around the same age, but he should not fight 100%. Like he couldn't get out of his childhood in the interview for that's what I saw the interview. Like I looked and tried to search down more.
Yeah.
But they asked him a question and he spent 15 minutes talking about when he was 10 years old and he couldn't get out of his childhood, and then they just ended. It was like over.
Oh, okay. I just seen a clip then. Or maybe I seen the whole video and thought it was just a clip.
Yeah, that is actually very possible because it literally ended in the middle of some story about him and some other 13-year-old, and it had gone on forever. And he literally was trapped in a different part of his head, couldn't get out.
Wow. What's up, Grassy Tiger? Says, what fights got canceled? Well, Uriah Hall versus Jacare Souza is definitely off. Souza got the bug. And then Jeremy Stevens missed weight by over 5 pounds. So that's a possible one off. Michelle Watterson and Carla Esparza. I have a feeling we're going to wake up to hearing that fight possibly canceled, but I can't really go into it too much, unfortunately. I probably shouldn't have brung it up, I guess, but John Furry can't even hang with Cliff Krauser, let alone Mike Tyson. Google Cliff Krauser if you don't know who that is. I have no idea who he is. I did see Bare Knuckle offer Tyson $20 million, though. Man, and he could fight anybody on the roster he wanted as well. Did you see that?
Cliff Krauser's dead, by the way. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I had no idea who the guy was.
Yeah, I guess I don't mean to say that in jest, but he's a promoter.
Ah, okay. David Tua. Somebody had mentioned David Tua as a possible opponent for Mike Tyson earlier. I decided to look up. He is 47 years old. I know he has talked about a comeback recently.
Can Clifford ATN get his rematch? How about that one?
Oh, Jesus, yeah. If his ankle ever recovers.
Healed?
That was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. David Tua ended with 52 wins, 5 losses, 43 knockouts. Last fought 2013, but he ended on a 2-fight losing streak to Monty Barrett and Alexander Houston. I think if you lost to Monty Barrett, I don't think you get to fight Mike Tyson.
I think Lennox Lewis today still beats Mike Tyson.
Absolutely, 100%. I think
he's sharp too today. Even
I think he might be the most underappreciated heavyweight of all time.
All because of Rahman? Well, I guess in McCall too.
Well, yeah,
were there two of them?
McCall, Rockman. I mean, he came back and avenged those losses, especially Rockman. Man, he devastated.
Lights out.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can be caught. And, I mean, it sucks. It sucks to get knocked out. It sucks to have a chin that's not granite, but it doesn't always say anything about your skills.
They're heavyweights. It doesn't really matter what your chin looks like.
Very true. When you're that big, yeah. You've seen Vladimir Klitschko till he figured it out. He got knocked out a few times. He got knocked out. God, he lost his championship the first time.
Corey Sanders fight.
Lamont Brewster knocked out Vladimir Klitschko and won the WBO championship back in the day.
A Corey Sanders fight was one of the greatest fights that I remember. That was one of the most athletic, hand-eye coordination. That guy was incredible, and he didn't really care. He didn't train right. He didn't do anything right. And he was still a force to be reckoned with. Is that his name, Corey Sanders?
Yep, you're right. Yeah, that's a guy. I kind of forgot about that name, but yeah, very underappreciated, super unorthodox guy.
Super athletic.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Chris Jackson asked, why didn't Lewis fight Klitschko? He fought the older Klitschko.
Vitaly.
Yep, he fought
They
Vitaly.
stopped the fight in like the 7th round because of the cut to the eye.
Yep, and Vitaly.
That was one of the greatest heavyweight. It was one of the greatest heavyweight fights of all time, and they should have let it go. They both had each other hurt. It was a great, great fight.
Yeah, you should go back and watch that one, Chris, or anybody else watching. Look up Vitaly Klitschko versus Lennox Lewis. That was an incredible fight. That's I was hoping we were going to go back to the 90s in boxing, with everything going on with Anthony Joshua getting upset by Ruiz, and then the rivalry between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. But I don't know that Wilder's going to have anything for Fury in a rematch.
Fury's just too good.
Yeah, he's amazing. He might be one of the best of all time.
Oh, he absolutely is. He absolutely
want the rematch. You're right, Chris Jackson. He retired rather than to fight Klitschko again.
He wasn't even 100% back when that fight happened either, but
no, but yeah,
because he was out for a while before that. He wasn't in 100% shape. He was close, but that one to me said a lot about his heart and why he is underappreciated.
Oh yeah, and Lennox, I mean, he's still giving back to the sport. He's still training guys, still in the gym all the time. Like you said, super sharp.
Plays chess all the time just to keep his mental sharp.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Well, hey, I think I'm going to get to bed and wrap this up. It's almost midnight my time. But, hey, thanks for coming on, Matt.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, of course. Enjoyed the conversation, so thank you.
Likewise.
Yeah, all right, guys. For Matt, for me, thanks for tuning in, guys. It's almost midnight my time, so a lot of you are 3 a.m. or worse. But I appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Pacific.
Enjoy the fights. Finally.
Absolutely, yeah. It's gonna be great. It's a long time coming. All right, guys. As always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Pacific.